Alrighty, those are all the stories and topics that we just needed to touch on today, gearing us up for tomorrow's big day of NFL Week 4, all day 1s, 4s, 8s. It's going to be great. Alrighty, but let's head over to our quarterback rankings, folks. We haven't touched this list since June 25th, folks. It's been a while. We haven't really, we did it in the off season as we were kind of gearing up for the season, and now it's been 3 games, 3 weeks. Some 2 teams have played 4 games. We got the Thursday night game, but, we're heading into kind of week 4, the thick of it in week 4, but let's get a nice gauge of where we kind of rank these quarterbacks now that we have kind of finally seen them this season, and we're starting to kind of exit the kind of first stage of the NFL season. We usually kind of all talk about the NFL season in kind of 4-week stretches out here. Coaches, organizations really kind of take it kind of in 4-week chunks at a time. So we're starting to kind of get past that first initial 4-game chunk of the season. That's kind of the first, basically it's the first 4 games of the season. That's exactly what it is. Getting your feet underneath you, getting the team warmed up. Yeah, you had the practices in the offseason, the OTAs, and yeah, you played in some preseason games, but you truly don't have your game conditioning, your game kind of management conditioning 100% up to par, and that really kind of gets officially on track kind of games 3 and 4, and now as we head into kind of games 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that kind of 4 stretch period, we really should start to see these quarterbacks start being a lot more consistent and start just looking kind of exactly how we all picture these upper echelon quarterbacks to look. The Aaron Rodgers, the Patrick Mahomes, the Tom Brady. Now, all those quarterbacks are still looking really, really solid the first, 3 games. But who's looking the most great? Who's looking the best out here over the first 3 weeks? And that's kind of what we are going to do here today. So we have this working list. All we have to do is just kind of, change them. Real easy to switch. Bingo, bango. So, if we like something, we'll switch them. If we see something else, we'll switch them back. This is not a set in stone list, folks, a working list. But this is kind of what our original working list was in the offseason. Heading into the season, this is kind of where we ranked everybody. So we had Patrick Mahomes, kind of number 1. Then Justin Herbert, then Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Desean Watson, Kyla Murray, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Ryan Tannehill, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Matt Ryan, Tua, Joe Burrow, Ben Roethlisberger, Jimmy G, Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater, Jameis Winston, Tyrod Taylor, Cam Newton, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Marcus Mariota, Andy Dalton, Drew Lock, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Kellen Mond, Trey Lance, and Case Keenum. Now, we did kind of like the starting quarterbacks here for every single team. Now, obviously, there's a couple of quarterbacks here that we didn't know weren't truly going to kind of be the starters out here. We made this list when, Desean Watson cases weren't 100% set in stone. We made this list before the starting quarterback was named in New Orleans. So we did have Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston. And I know what y'all are probably thinking to yourselves now, well, Jameis Winston had that big play in that big game in the preseason game number 2 where he went to Marquez Callaway 40 yards 2 times for touchdowns. But what has he done since then, folks? Not even throwing for 200 yards. So we are going to kind of talk through all these quarterbacks and what they've been doing and, ranking them and reordering them. But Jameis Winston, it's going to be a nice conversation to be had because what the heck do we actually make of Jameis Winston now that he is actually the starter and we're getting like 140 yards a game? It's nothing great. Hopefully he wakes up this week at home, but it's something to talk about. Tyrod Taylor, unfortunate, hasn't really played, injured again, unfortunate. Cam Newton is not playing, so he can probably be at the bottom. But let's start here at the top of the list, and let's try to get a nice working point. And then once we have like kind of that kind of number 1 solidified, that number 1 quarterback, then we can just kind of compare, number 2 to number 1, 3 to 1. How do we 3 to 2, all that. So let's just start talking about some quarterbacks out here. So let's start with Patrick Mahomes. Can we leave Patrick Mahomes as kind of the best quarterback in the league right now? I don't care what they did in their history. I don't care what they did last season. This is right now through 3 games. What are we liking at quarterback? Who do we think are the best quarterbacks this season and only this season alone? I don't care what their history. We're not taking your history, your accolades into consideration when we're actively building this working in-season list. So here we go. Can we keep Patrick Mahomes as the number 1 quarterback? I don't think we can. What makes Patrick Mahomes so great and so special is his ability to come back from behind and get those game-winning drives and clean up everything 100% offensively on those kind of fourth quarter game-winning, game-tying potential drives out there. And so far, we haven't gotten the magic of Patrick Mahomes. And once again, why I think people like Patrick Mahomes so much is because he resembles Aaron Rodgers in that kind of clutch ability. Aaron Rodgers' biggest accolade to his overall GOAT resume is that, he's got multiple comeback from behind victories. It doesn't matter. He gets it done when the time comes to get it done. A minute left. We just saw it this week. 38 seconds left. He goes down and wins the game. Patrick Mahomes had that kind of same special quality about him, but it's not showing this season. They're 1-2 this season. Game 2 against Baltimore, he throws that interception, unfortunately. That kind of leads them to the loss. And then against the Chargers just last week, he throws 2 interceptions, and then he doesn't complete that kind of, Aaron Rodgers, 38 seconds left. How much time did the Chiefs have against the Chargers? It was kind of almost like around a full minute, I think, and they just couldn't come back. When you were watching that game live, you're like, Patrick Mahomes has it. This is, classic set up for Patrick Mahomes, and they missed the extra point, so they're only down 6. So this could be a true game-winning drive and not just a game-tying drive with the touchdown, but he couldn't complete it. They couldn't get it done. They couldn't go down. Patrick Mahomes couldn't go down and win that game himself, tie up that game himself. He just couldn't do that. So we're missing the Patrick Mahomes magic, and when when Patrick Mahomes' kind of magic isn't truly showing like it has his entire career, we get a 1-2 start. Unfortunate. But, his stats are all good. These are good stats. I just don't think we can count it as number 1. Game 1, 75% completion percentage, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a flawless game, basically. Game 2, 77% completion percentage, 343 yards, 3 touchdowns, that 1 pick, truly unfortunate. And he also, I believe he fumbled. I don't know if he lost it in game number 1 or game number 2. And then game number 3, 61% completion percentage, only 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So with Patrick Mahomes, lack of magic, I don't think we can kind of keep him at number 1. So now we just have to actively look for somebody to put at number 1. I can't put Justin Herbert at number 1 just quite yet, even though he's looking real solid this season. I'm loving the development that we're seeing from Justin Herbert, and it started at kind of, the final 5-6 games from last season, and he's truly continuing it here this season. Look at these game stats so far. 65% completion percentage game 1 with 337 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Ended up winning the game. Game 2, 75% completion percentage for 338 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have those 2 end zone or red zone interceptions. Unfortunately, they lose the game by 3, but then he played so freaking well last week against the Chiefs to get the win. 68% completion percentage, 281 yards, but 4 passing touchdowns, no turnovers, no interceptions. Absolutely love it. So he truly got it done. I don't think I could put him over Patrick Mahomes just quite yet. We are seeing him be very, very solid right here. That loss against the Cowboys kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, especially since they were at home. That would have been a huge proving game for Justin Herbert, but he ended up having a huge proving game last week against the Chiefs. So I can't put Justin Herbert above Patrick Mahomes for that number 1 spot. Josh Allen can't be there either at the number 1 spot just because he finally took off last week, and we have to kind of use this week as a gauge. Is he going to stay the course of keeping up this kind of solid streak, or is he going to go back to 50% completion percentage? Because that's what Josh Allen is so far. After 4 seasons in, going into his 4th season, we've seen 2 seasons of 50% completion percentage, absolutely trash, and we've seen one of 69, fantastic. That was fantastic. 69, 68, what do we got officially? 69. last season. So the first 2 games this season, 58% completion percentage, 51% completion percentage, absolutely garbage. But then last week finally picked up where he left off last season, 74% completion percentage, 358 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. That's what we're talking about. That's the Josh Allen that we can put at the number 1 best quarterback in this league, but it's one game. We need to see what he does this week. So we can't put Josh Allen at number 1. And I want to actually put Justin Herbert above Josh Allen just for the current moment. And we are going to keep Justin Herbert above Josh Allen. We are going to, revisit this week, maybe on a bi-weekly basis on our Saturday shows. I'm not sure if we're going to do this every single week. But, we like what we saw from Josh Allen, and we definitely expect him to get back and keep up this high level of play. But, Justin Herbert's been really solid for 3 straight games. Josh Allen only 1 game. So we're going to keep Justin Herbert above Josh Allen, but we're still looking for that number 1 quarterback. Can we give it to Aaron Rodgers? I don't think we can give it to Aaron Rodgers either because of that first game where, he really did not look good. And, he didn't show up early to the OTAs and all of that. He kind of, showed up, at the last minute to training camp. So, that's kind of why we can expect him to, not have a good game 1, and he didn't. 53% completion percentage, 133 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, absolutely garbage. Good game 2 at 81% completion percentage, 255 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. And then we just saw last game where, he comes down and wins the game single-handedly, 38 seconds left. Classic Aaron Rodgers come from behind victory to win the game. Notches another comeback from behind victory for his resume. I mean, he truly kind of stands on that. He stands on his 1 championship, only 1, and all of his come from behind victories. That's what Aaron Rodgers stands on for his greatest of all time resume. And he just did it again last week. 69% completion percentage, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, game-winning drive as well. So Aaron Rodgers, we know what Aaron Rodgers is. He's fantastic. He gets it done all the time. We are going to put Aaron Rodgers above Josh Allen, but I am going to keep Justin Herbert above Aaron Rodgers. Leadership is taken into account on this as well. And out of all the starting quarterbacks, I think Aaron Rodgers' leadership is honestly the worst, folks. His talent truly makes up for his lack of leadership, but we know this 2 interception game is classic Aaron Rodgers, folks. Nothing's going his way. He throws in the towel. They get blown out 38-3, but he kind of wipes his hands clean of it. Hey, this is not me. This was y'all losing, and I'll step up next week. I've got no problem doing that if it just comes down to, will y'all step up? And I really believe that's kind of the attitude and the message and the kind of overall vibe and tone that is kind of set in the locker room because of Aaron Rodgers' presence. Aaron Rodgers can come out and say whatever he wants in the media, folks. I don't care what y'all say to the media. We talk about what you say, and then we kind of read between the lines. Tom Brady says 95% of what I say in the national media is not exactly what I'm thinking. And you better believe it goes the same for Aaron Rodgers here, folks, 100%. So I don't care if Aaron Rodgers, after that game, week 1, where, he loses and he's like, hey, we're not panicking and, hey, we just got out to a slow start and nothing was clicking. I don't care what he says, and this is a team loss and all this. It's not truly what he believes, folks. But I will put Aaron Rodgers above Josh Allen just so far, but I mean, if Josh Allen has another great week, I'm ready to put him right above Aaron Rodgers. But we're still looking for that number 1 quarterback. I'm still not going to put Aaron Rodgers as the number 1 quarterback. Let's look at Russell Wilson. So Russell Wilson and the Seahawks team, not the best, are, floundering in the back half of game number 2 and the back half of game number 3. But let's see what he was doing here. I mean, when we look at his stats, they are really gosh dang great, folks. Russell Wilson, game number 1, 78% completion percentage, 254 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Game 2, 70% completion percentage, 343 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then just last week, 71% completion percentage, 298 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. So he's not turning over the ball. He's efficient as heck. 70% over 3 games. We haven't read anybody's stats that are 70 over 3 games, folks. So that's fantastic. And he's not dinking and dunking. He's airing it out. 250 yards, 340, 298. I mean, he's not dinking and dunking, actively slinging this ball around while having that high completion percentage. So Russell Wilson is playing really gosh dang good. It's just not resulting into wins. But because, of his level of play, we're definitely going to rise him up here right below Justin Herbert. I mean, I'm big on Justin Herbert, and I'm not, just doing this because, I think he's great, or anything like that. I'm doing it because what we're seeing from him on the field and his leadership and when he's scoring. I mean, they got out to a nice 2-1 start and just beat the Chiefs and came close to beating the Cowboys, and we highly rank these Cowboys up. We just did our power rankings for this week on Tuesday's show, and we had the Cowboys at number 3. That was, it's a tough loss for the Chargers, but it's still a good overall loss. And, no losses. Nobody wants to lose, obviously, folks, but it's still overall a pretty solid loss here. So, man, Justin Herbert, do we have him over Russell Wilson? I think we're going to keep him above Russell Wilson, even though these stats by Russell Wilson are absolutely fantastic. He didn't turn over the ball. Maybe I should put Russell Wilson ahead. Those 2 red zone interceptions, Russell Wilson didn't make those mistakes. Now, unfortunately, Russell Wilson also didn't put his team in a position to win these games. These are both double 2-possession losses right here. 9-point loss to 3-point loss to the Titans, 13-point loss to the Vikings. So only a 1-possession loss against the Titans, 2-possession loss against the Vikings from last week. So Russell Wilson's fantastic. I think we will leave Russell Wilson a slight tad hair above Justin Herbert. But once again, we still don't have our number 1 quarterback. I don't want Patrick Mahomes as our number 1 quarterback in the league right now. The magic is not there. Now, I'm not saying the magic won't get there this week and next week and continue on for the season. And if that happens, we will reflect our list accurately. But as of right now, folks, we are not seeing the magic by Patrick Mahomes. So the next quarterback here on the list is Dak Prescott. And now this is a true contender for the number 1 spot. So let's see how high on this list we can give Dak Prescott the nod. So here we go. Game 1, an unfortunate loss, and it came against the Bucs. Just like we're not kind of penalizing Justin Herbert too much for that loss against the Cowboys, the 2 red zone interceptions are kind of inexcusable, but he's only year 2, so we give him a little bit of a free pass, tad free pass there. But with Dak Prescott, once again, going against the Bucs, a little bit of a free pass there, a little bit, but they only lost by 2. 3 touchdowns. He did throw the pick there, but 72% completion percentage for 403 yards. And, everybody was talking about this Bucs team being one of the best defenses in the league because, they're rebringing back all their starters and they just hit their stride at the end of last season. So the fact that Dak Prescott on the road, first game of the year for everybody, slings the ball 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, really solid performance there, and then follows that performance up with an 85% completion percentage game, 237 yards against the Chargers, no touchdown. He did throw the pick, but at the end of the day, he was efficient. He was moving the ball, and he did it just enough to win the game by 3. And then last week, he gets back on track, doesn't throw a pick, 80% completion percentage, 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, wins the game. Sunday Night Football, division rival, at home, all of that, puts up 41 points, moves the ball. The leadership of Dak is maybe one of the best quarterback leaderships I've seen, folks. It's way better than Aaron Rodgers. I definitely will say that. Patrick Mahomes had some great leadership this week when they were down on the sideline, yelling at his guys, getting them ready to go. And Dak Prescott does the same exact thing, if not better. I may say a little bit better. So I'm ready to say that Dak Prescott is the number 1 quarterback in this league of all the quarterbacks that we've seen so far. So now that we've got Dak at number 1, I still think we can keep Patrick Mahomes at number 2 right now. Russell Wilson will be number 3. Justin Herbert at 4. Aaron Rodgers at 5. Josh Allen at 6. I think we are good here right now for the top 6. So now let's start reordering everybody else. Now that we have our number 1 out of the way. Now, this doesn't say that, one of these other quarterbacks that are kind of going to come up, Desean Watson, Kyla Murray, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Ryan Tannehill, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr won't be number 1, but, we have our new number 1. We feel we're comfortable with having Dak Prescott number 1, if that's what we end up deciding on. But let's rank these other quarterbacks. Unfortunately, Desean Watson, well, he's not playing this year, so truly unfortunate. If, we were just taking last season into consideration, I do have his last season stats up. I mean, last season was truly incredible by Desean Watson, and Desean Watson really, when he's actively playing, really could make an argument for number 1 quarterback in the league. Last year's stats, 70% completion percentage for the entire season. It's truly immaculate, folks. 4,800 yards, led the team in passing, even though the team was a dumpster fire overall. 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, sheesh, folks, these are absolutely immaculate, amazing, flawless stats, if I do say so. So Desean Watson, unfortunately we can't really rank him this season because he's not playing. But, I mean, given what he did last season, if we were just having to put Desean Watson at a place, I mean, definitely could put him number 2. Definitely maybe could even put him number 1. Unfortunately, he's not playing, so we do have to just dump him down. It's unfortunate. But we'll move him all the way to the bottom of the list just because he's not playing. But if he is playing, definitely above Justin Herbert, above Russell Wilson, make the argument for above Patrick Mahomes, make the argument for above Dak Prescott. Just unfortunately, he's not playing. Alrighty, Kyla Murray now is the next quarterback up, and man, oh man, this man is absolutely fan-freaking-tastic, folks, and he's going to be climbing, folks. We got to move this man up pretty high. I mean, he's got his team out to 3-0. He's leading the charge from behind, getting outscored by the Vikings week 2, getting outscored by the Jaguars week 2, but still staying the course and just slinging the ball around, putting up 30-plus points every single game, coming back from behind, no problem. 3-0 start here by Kyla Murray. So, game number 1, 65% completion percentage, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Game 2, 80% completion percentage for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he threw 2 interceptions in that game and still won and still came from behind. Obviously, we don't want to see the interceptions, but if you're able to come from behind and work it out and still put up great numbers and yards and stats and points and still come out and win the game, we can kind of give it, turn a little bit of a blind eye to it, a little bit of a free pass. Obviously, don't want to see that keep happening, but overall, not terrible. And then last week, 82% completion percentage, 316 yards, no touchdowns, and he threw a pick, and they still were able to win the game. So this is great here by Kyla Murray. Just got to clean up the interceptions. If he didn't have all these interceptions, I could definitely put him number 1. But because of all these interceptions, we got to kind of move him down a little bit. So here we go, Kyla Murray. Let's move him up. All right, please, let us just move him up here. All right, this is being wonky on us now for some reason. Come on. Jeez. What are we doing? Let's refresh this. All right. So our internet's crapping out on us for some reason. Jeez Louise. All right, so let's just kind of keep... We're going to have to go old school and write it all down now until we get it back online because it won't let us move. But, I mean, we can move Kyla Murray above Josh Allen. I'm moving him above Aaron Rodgers, and now we have no visual. That's definitely not what we wanted. But yeah, I'd probably put Kyla Murray right above Patrick Mahomes. I think I'm putting Kyla Murray above Patrick Mahomes because the only real difference so far this season between Patrick Mahomes and Kyla Murray is that Kyla Murray is showing that kind of magic quality about him, coming from behind, completing the come from behind drives where Patrick Mahomes, he's stalling on those come back from behind drives. So I'm going to put Kyla Murray number 2, so it's going to go Dak Prescott, then Kyla Murray, then Patty Mahomes. Like I said, if Kyla Murray didn't have all those interceptions, we could put Kyla Murray ahead of Dak Prescott, but he's got the picks. We can't do that just yet. All right. So the next quarterback we've got is Lamar Jackson, folks. So how high can we put Lamar Jackson? Now, Lamar Jackson, he's a dual-threat quarterback. Same thing with Kyla Murray. They both got that dual-threat quality about them. Let's look at Kyla Murray's dual-threat stats. We didn't touch on that. But his rushing stats, what do we got here for the first 3 games? So far, he's only rushed for 70 yards here in 2021. So a little uncharacteristic so far. Only 23 yards a game, 51 yards a game rushing last season, 34 yards rushing a game in his rookie year. So his rushing stats are a little down this year, but, he's still getting it done with his arm, obviously. We got this up yet? And it is not up yet. All right, but Lamar Jackson, dual threat quarterback like Kyla Murray. Now, they're very, very similar in their run style. When we talk about dual threat quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Kyla Murray are the cream of the crop. They are the 1 and 2, and I don't even know if they are even 1 and 2. I think they're 1 and 1. And I won't even do 1A, 1B because obviously B comes after A. It's just 1 and 1. They are 1 and 1. They're the fastest. I think their speed overall is literally the same. Their athleticism, their cutting is all the same. Their acceleration, I think, is all the same. But Lamar Jackson utilizes his legs a lot more than any other dual threat quarterback in this league. Now, Lamar Jackson is the only player on this Ravens team offensively, folks. I mean, the receivers are not helping him out. The running attack was injured right from the get-go. They had to sign all the kind of backup running backs that they could right before the season started because all their starting running backs got injured. So Lamar Jackson is truly putting the team on his back and doing everything here, moving the ball 100% himself, scoring the ball basically 100% himself out here. So Lamar Jackson is... he's doing it all out here, just to say the least. All right, but here we go. Game number 1, and this is what I want to see a little bit better out of Lamar Jackson, just the completion percentage up a little bit more. And I know Marquise Brown has not been helping him, and having, Bateman out, who was supposed to, help him out in the quarterback kind of, room, or the wide receiver room. They're not that deep. They got Sammy Watkins, who's not really a tier 1 wide receiver in this league. He's a solid tier 2. Marquise Brown's he's bordering tier 3 wide receiver in this league because of all the drops, but he's a solid tier 2. Rashad Bateman, the rookie that was supposed to come in, obviously we're not going to upgrade him to tier 1 status just quite yet, but, there's no really tier 1 wide receivers on this team. In the wide receivers that, Lamar Jackson is working with, they're truly not helping him out. So, I understand that, but I still need Lamar Jackson's completion percentage to be up. I mean, we just read everybody else's completion percentage. I mean, we're talking about 70s consistently, 80s here, some through the first 3 game stretches. And so far, Lamar Jackson, game 1, 63%, which is just borderline good. 235 yards, 1 touchdown. Game 2, 69% completion percentage, which we absolutely love. 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and then just last week, 51% completion percentage on the road against Detroit. 287 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So the passing game is just okay overall. We know he's a great runner in this league as well. Rushing, he had 86 yards game 1. 107 yards with 2 touchdowns game 2, and then 58 yards rushing last week, no touchdowns. So we know Lamar Jackson's a great passer in this league, but we need to see that completion percentage up a little bit more. All right, we definitely need this list to come back online like right now, because I can't put him above Dak. I'm not going to put him above Kyla Murray. I don't even think I put him above Patrick Mahomes right now. I still think I keep Patrick Mahomes at number 3. So it would probably be Lamar Jackson, maybe number 4. I forget. I think we have Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson at number 4, and I think I put him under Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell Wilson still had these great percentage numbers, and I need to see the percentage here, the completion percentage here by Lamar Jackson. Obviously, all these other quarterbacks have better wide receivers than Lamar Jackson does, but, I can't use that as an excuse and just kind of overlook it and put Lamar Jackson above these above all these other quarterbacks. I still need you to find a way to get it done, even if all the circumstances aren't lined up 100% to your liking, or if they're not at the same par of your competition that you're going against. I still need you to figure out a way to get it done, and I can't just make excuses and use your poor weapons as excuses for you to talk about you better, to, move you up in power rankings or whatever we're talking about. So I think we got to leave Lamar Jackson a little bit down on this list. Unfortunately, we don't have the list up. It's still not loading up. It's truly frustrating, but the show must go on. We are live here. So we do have to move Lamar Jackson down a little bit. I think we're going to move Russell Wilson, keep him at 4. I believe that's where he is. I will put Lamar Jackson... Do I put him above Aaron Rodgers? That's really what I'm determining now. Do I put Lamar Jackson above or below Aaron Rodgers? That's really what the discussion is, I think, at the current moment. Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers? Ugh. I mean, they both got the big arm. Lamar Jackson, I still trust that arm. Man, oh man, that's tough. Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers, man. I think I'm going to go Lamar Jackson's leadership, his attitude is better. Aaron Rodgers passing a game obviously is better than Lamar Jackson, but then Lamar Jackson has that dual threat ability. I'm going to give Lamar Jackson the benefit of the doubt. Now I will give Lamar Jackson the benefit of the doubt, and that's when I'll use the receivers as the kind of tiebreaker for where we put Lamar Jackson. I'll have Lamar Jackson above Aaron Rodgers. That's where we're going to rank that. Alrighty, next quarterback up here. We're going to be trying to get this list back online as soon as possible. All right. I may be able to bring this up on my phone. All right. Let's hold with us for 1 second, folks. Let me type this URL into our phone. Hopefully that works. It should work. It's just, am I going to be able to read the URL correctly? Because it is just wild. It's just random letters, numbers, classic URL. All right, so here we go. And y'all can go to this website too, y'all. Y'all can go here. Just don't change it. Actually, I do think y'all can change it. Oh, this might not be a good idea. So let me not. I don't think y'all can see it on the screen. So let me not read it out loud. I don't need y'all ruining this this list for us out here. All right, so here we go. Give us 1 second. We're gonna type this in, and if it doesn't work, then we will just drop it and we will move on. Keep moving on. No worries. But we're almost through it. 1 second. Who do y'all think is gonna win this Bucks Patriots game this week? Discuss among yourselves. Tom Brady. Y'all know Bill B. What do y'all think about them? Yeah. I agree. Yep. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think those two. Yeah, so, I think we're on the same page, Bucks -7. I'm pretty sure that's what y'all were saying, right? Alrighty. WYJXBD1. Alright, is this it? I type it in right? Okay. Well, I don't think we typed it in right. Unfortunate. Okay, well, that didn't work. So, all right, well, let's just talk about the next quarterback up then. The next quarterback we got to discuss is Matthew Stafford. Good thing we brought up all these before the show began. All right, so here we go. Matthew Stafford, great performance so far this season. Exactly, kind of being exactly who we all thought he was in Detroit. Just unfortunately, we all know a garbage team around him, so we never had the true opportunity to really prove himself out here. But yeah, Matthew Stafford out here, game number 1, 76% completion percentage, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Game number 2, 63% completion percentage on the road, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And then just last week facing the Bucs, 71% completion percentage, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. The man is being exactly who we thought he was, the pure pocket, big arm, accurate passer that wins games. And if he has great wide receivers with him, now we're just truly talking. We're taking off with Matthew Stafford alone, but now we had good receivers around him. We're truly shooting off into space with Matthew Stafford. So he's looking incredible out here, and I really think, as of right now, I think we put, I take Matthew Stafford over Patrick Mahomes right now. Patrick Mahomes, once again, the magic is just not here. And once again, he's kind of at his 4-year mark, and we kind of gauge, 4-year stretches. It's hard to really be good, year after year, and it's even harder to be great for more than a 4-year stretch. And, we're kind of starting to see Is Patrick Mahomes going to follow the same kind of start of his career that we just saw Russell Wilson? Came out of the gate hot, got 2 Super Bowls, 1 win in 4 years, and then hasn't gone back for the last 5 seasons. And now the same thing with Patrick Mahomes is starting to take form. Super Bowl champion, another Super Bowl participant in 4 years, and now we get a 1-2 start. In the magic that was so great about Patrick Mahomes the first 3 years is just not there quite yet this season. Same thing with Russell Wilson. That kind of magic and kind of winning the game at the end of the game and always kind of being in it kind of has faded a little bit as Russell Wilson's career has kind of gone on a little bit. It's not huge. It's not like night and day, magic, no magic. But we do see, Russell Wilson not getting back to the Super Bowl, not winning all those games that he used to win. And we're starting to get that with Patrick Mahomes. So I think I'm going to move Matthew Stafford above Patrick Mahomes and have it be Dak, Kyler Murray, and then Matthew Stafford as the top 3 quarterbacks in the league right now. That's where we're going to move Matthew Stafford. Number 3. I'm loving what he's doing here. He's winning the game. He's being dominant offensively. They're putting up the points every single game. Let's read his point totals here. 34 points game 1, 27 game 2, 34 game 3. I mean, putting up 30 points at home, scoring exactly when they need to, going toe-to-toe with Tom Brady and kind of outperforming him a little bit. 71% completion percentage. I mean, this is what we're talking about, folks. So, absolutely great leader, getting it done, winning games, and now when expectations are on Matthew Stafford, he's actually kind of hitting those expectations out of the park where, those expectations were truly lessened in Detroit because of the team overall. So we're putting Matthew Stafford right there at number 3. We love it. Alrighty, now let's talk about Tom Brady. So far, so good start to his season so far. Game 1, 64% completion percentage, 379 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. Game number 2, 66% completion percentage, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. And then just last week, 74% completion percentage on 55 attempts. 432 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. He's slinging this ball around. Now, Tom Brady, obviously we all know he's a great quarterback in this league. He's got great weapons everywhere. Unfortunately, he could not win last week against the Rams. Couldn't quite go toe-to-toe. Lost by 2 possessions to the Rams. Unfortunate. But Tom Brady is still a pretty solid closer in this league, we know. Got it done against the Cowboys late, then blew out the Falcons. That was a really kind of no test. But the fact that, this man is always, his completion percentage is right on par on what he usually does. This is not like an outlier good or bad, kind of an outlier season for him. This is kind of a classic Tom Brady season. I'm glad that he's cleaning up the turnovers these last 2 games because we saw, 2 interceptions game 1, and that kind of, brought up memories of what Tom Brady did last season in the playoffs and kind of got bailed out that Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees just couldn't take advantage of all the interceptions that he was throwing. So I'm glad that he's cleaned up these interceptions, but I probably have, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers above him. Tom Brady is doing, what he's doing, and this is not a knock on Tom Brady by kind of lowering him on this list. It's, would Tom Brady be as good as he is right now if he kind of switched receivers with Lamar Jackson? You give Tom Brady Sammy Watkins, Marquise Brown, Rashad Bateman. Does he have as much success? I'm sure he still has good success. This is not a knock Brady segment. He's still the greatest quarterback of all time. He's just not number 1, I don't think, quite yet. His 44th year, old, and his 20th season in the league. He's just not number 1 right now, but he's still top 10. I say we put him in top 10, I would say. We have him under Dak. We have him under Kyla Murray. We have him under Patrick Mahomes. I have him under Russell Wilson. I may have him actually above Lamar Jackson. I still got to go with Tom Brady over Lamar Jackson, I think, folks. And I definitely have Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that's even a debate at this point. I'm taking Tom Brady, pure passer, over Aaron Rodgers all day. So I'm going to put Tom Brady above. It's just, do we put him above Lamar Jackson? And yeah, I think I do. I think we do. Once again, Lamar Jackson's great. This is not a knock quarterback segment here. I mean, when we're talking about, what separates these quarterbacks, it's not big gaps, folks. It's literally like small gaps between the quarterback above and below these people. So this is not knocks, folks. Just like wide receivers, when we talk about wide receivers in this league, when we talk about quarterbacks, when we do like a top 10, nobody should be insulted or knocking that, we're just, ordering these players this way. It's just unfortunate. One thing that we value more is leadership. Maybe y'all don't value leadership the way we value leadership, or y'all value, fourth quarter comebacks, or, first quarter, getting out to good starts. Maybe y'all weigh that a little bit more than we do, and that's what your tiebreaker is. But for the most part, I would say all of our thinking on quarterback is kind of on the same page. And it's just like those final one or two details that determine, all right, the kind of tiebreaker between all this greatness out here. So I'm going to put Tom Brady above Lamar Jackson. So that would be kind of top 5, right? Dak 1, Kyler 2, Matthew Stafford 3, Patrick Mahomes 4, Russell Wilson 5, and then Tom Brady 6, which is still absolutely fantastic. So we're putting Tom Brady number 6. Is this list back up? This is not back up, and it's kind of killing us. All right, what else do we got? I think we're going to do one more quarterback. We got maybe these 3. Let's end on these 3. These are pretty good. Oh, we got to get Derek Carr into the mix. All right, so let's end off on these next 4, and then everybody else is just kind of real mediocre. I mean, nobody even has a chance. I mean, Daniel Jones, Matt Ryan, Tua, no chance at kind of being number 1 quarterback. But let's finish off kind of, solid tier 1, tier 2, right on the verge quarterbacks right here. So let's talk about Ryan Tannehill. All righty. 2-1 start here for old Tannehill. 60% percentage game 2, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. 67% completion percentage game 2, 347 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then just last week, 66% completion percentage, 197 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So Ryan Tannehill is playing a little bit of game manager football out here. Definitely relies on the wide receivers in the running game of Derrick Henry to utilize all of his strengths and to put him in the right position to win the game. So Ryan Tannehill is clearly not touching anybody. Dak, Kyla Murray, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. So Ryan Tannehill is like, bottom of all those. Still okay. He's throwing way too many picks for, what his level is. He's an above average game manager. Game managers are not throwing all these picks out here. So he's got to clean that up. And now he doesn't have, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones this week, so we'll see what he can do. And this completion percentage is still a little all right, just a little all right. 66, 67 the last 2 weeks, we can get behind that, but that's, we've been seeing 70s and 80s, and it's crazy out here, folks. We have to kind of change our metric of completion percentage. We like 62 to 65, but this new age, these last 2-3 seasons, the completion percentage has been going absolutely bonkers out here. So Ryan Tannehill, not going bonkers with the completion percentage. We got to kind of, lower him a little bit. All right, now let's talk about Carson Wentz quickly. Game 1, 65% completion percentage, 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Game 2, 64% completion percentage, 247 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Last week, 51% completion percentage, 194 yards, no touchdown, no pick. This is what we're talking about. No great completion percentage out here. Not being efficient, not being accurate. After we just named all those great quarterbacks that are accurate, efficient every single week, Carson Wentz is truly floundering out here. So I put Carson Wentz well below Ryan Tannehill, absolutely. This is not getting it done. This man was supposed to be kind of the savior for this Colts team, supposed to really elevate his play here and put all the doubters and haters to rest out here by getting it done in this Colts system, but he's floundering big time right here, 0-3, and this is kind of an 0-3 stat line right here, not going above and beyond, not doing more than what you need to do to put the team on your back to go out and win the game. We get 65% completion percentage is your best day. That's kind of, that was, the high mark on our old metric. We're still figuring out the metric. It's going to kind of take this entire year to really get that kind of new number of what is good in completion percentage wise, yards, and touchdown to interception ratio. Those are all kind of under construction now because of the passing game over the last year or two. So Carson Wentz is not stepping it up. This is not great football. This is not great quarterback, at least in 2020. Maybe in 2010, in 2011, in 2012, this was good quarterback play. This is not cutting it now. Carson Wentz is now officially very, very not good. Borderline trash. I won't call him trash quite yet, but he's getting there. All right, now let's talk about Baker Mayfield, another kind of above average game manager like Ryan Tannehill. Let's see what his stats are. This is what we're talking about. 75% completion percentage, game one, 321 yards, no touchdown, one pick, not great, but overall accurate as heck and really efficient, and they're able to kind of go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs because of that. The one interception, basically why they lose this 4-point game. So you clean up that pick, everything else is great, but he threw the pick, unfortunate. Game 2, 90% completion percentage on 21 throws, just missed 2 passes. 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And then just last week, 61% completion percentage, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. A little wonky out of that game, but really kind of uncharacteristic of him at 61% completion percentage. That's not really his game. So a little bit of an outlier game last week. But he's playing to his strengths. He's got great talent around him. He's utilizing it all. And Baker Mayfield and Ryan Tannehill, real similar in style of play and game manager, quarterbacks and all that. So I definitely have Baker Mayfield above Carson Wentz. It's just, do we put Baker Mayfield above Ryan Tannehill? Baker Mayfield doesn't have that clutch gene just quite yet, where Ryan Tannehill has actively been gaining that clutch gene these last 2 seasons. So Baker Mayfield just doesn't have that clutch gene just quite yet. Why he couldn't beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and why, he really couldn't close out the door against the Bears until kind of late in the second half. So I'm going to put Ryan Tannehill above Baker Mayfield. So we'll put Baker Mayfield right between Ryan Tannehill and Carson Wentz. Baker. All right, so this is our new list. It's not loading, but we have it down on paper, and I think we aren't missing anybody. I think we have everybody up here. We don't have Justin Herbert. I forgot where we put Justin Herbert. I think we put Aaron Rodgers above Justin Herbert, I think. Ugh. See what happens when we don't have internet? Unfortunate, folks. But here we go. This is kind of our new list, and, this is basically where we stand. So we've got Dak 1, Kyla Murray 2, Matthew Stafford 3, Patrick Mahomes 4, Russell Wilson 5, Tom Brady 6, Lamar Jackson 7, Aaron Rodgers 8, Justin Herbert 9, I believe that's where we have him. Ryan Tannehill 10, Baker Mayfield 11, and Carson Wentz 12. But Carson Wentz is going to be definitely low when we get to everybody else. Which we just don't. Oh, we got to fit Derek Carr in. All right, quickly, Derek Carr, folks. Here we go. Game 1, 70% completion, or 60% completion percentage, 435 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Truly slinging it around with 400 yards. Game number 2, 75% completion percentage for 382 yards, 2 touchdowns, no pick. Last week, 60% completion percentage for 386 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. This man is slinging the ball around. I love the yards there. The completion percentage definitely needs to be cleaned up a little bit. He is throwing the ball a lot. 56 attempts game 1, 37 attempts game 2, 43 attempts game 3. So I understand, the lower completion percentage because of all the attempts. But definitely would have liked to short it up around 65. There's still no reason for not 65% completion percentage. But I'm definitely going to put Derek Carr above Justin Herbert for the moment. I don't know if I put him above Aaron Rodgers. We need that completion percentage up a little bit more. If he had 65% completion percentage for game 1 and game number 3, I would have put him above Aaron Rodgers. I would have put him above Lamar Jackson, but because of 60% there, that's real lackluster. So we're going to put him above Justin Herbert, but that's it. And he's still finding a way to win the game, which is always great. But still, close games can't give him, high top 5 honors. 60% completion percentage can't give him high top 5 honors. So Derek Carr kind of placed around 8-9-ish.